Hi! I promised you guys that I would do a get ready with me with their Lorac Sheer Porefection and give you ideas of what, different primers work with it. Now, one of the things that I found out is that this is the ideal primer for it, and that is the Lorac Sheer Spackle primer. There are several different versions of it, but I think they're probably all water-based. This, I think, is water-based because it does not go well with silicone type primers like my Smashbox Photo Finish primer, which I love, but it didn't work well with this one. This is a very chatty get ready with me, and so anyway, stay tuned and enjoy the show. And hopefully, if you have any questions, please go ahead and ask me. I am not a professional makeup artist, please remember that. And so these are just my impressions and the way I feel and the way it worked out on me. And everybody's different. This, just for information, this one is the Hydrating Primer from Lorac Sheer Moisturizing Under Makeup Primer, it's called. I also have the Illuminating one. I probably should have tried that one today instead. I'm sure it will work the same way. I'll give that another try off screen. And I also use the Lorac Sheer Porefection Foundation. Remember, keyword here is sheer, and it's in color PS2. And so, anyway, stay tuned and enjoy the show. I taped this once before, but it came out horrible, so I am retaping this. I promised you guys that I would give you the skinny on how this Lorac Porefection works. So just stay tuned. I already did a foundation Friday with this, but it didn't work out tremendously well because although at the end result was that it did look okay, but I had used my Smashbox, which is one of my favorite primers, but it just didn't mix well. It kind of separated on the skin, and I got a little eye cream in my eye, so I'm just not going to be able to get over that for a little while. So anyway, before I get started, I'm going to put on a little bit of eye cream. I do have this 100% pure. I keep this in my vanity because I noticed that whatever eye cream I put on doesn't seem to be moisturizing enough to get rid of the wrinkles, and I have fine lines and all that. Now I'm taping daylight. I have daylight coming in behind you. I have every light in the room on except for that one back there because it is, after all, my lunch hour. And so, since the puppy's asleep and it's my lunch hour, and by the way, I'll give you a little update on the puppy, hopefully today. But since it's my lunch hour, it's perfect time for me to go ahead and take care of this. Now, one thing that I did learn is, since I recorded this before, is that it works very well with the Lorac Sheer primer. Now, this is the hydrating primer, and honestly, I also have the illuminating primer, but I tried it with this, and honestly, it worked really well. But I also tried it with just my regular moisturizer. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did in that video. Excuse me, my nose is very itchy. It's unseasonably warm again today. So it's like nature's kind of fooling us a little bit here. So anyway, it is March, but it's not usually this warm in March. So I'm just going to smooth on some primer. And you know what? I might as well do my whole face. I can tell you right off the bat that this primer does work very well. You don't really need a primer with this foundation, I found. Also, it's very sheer foundation. So the only negative when it comes to that, I have a little more primer on this side, is you can still see, like I have a sunspot here that most foundations do seem to cover without an additional pop of any kind of concealer. This one, however, does not. This is Lorac Sheer Porefection. So The application method I'm going to use today is I'm going to try putting it on just with my fingers and then smoothing it with a beauty blender. So the first thing I'm going to do is put on some under eye cover. And I'm really exhausted because the puppy has me up. Sometimes once, maybe twice. It was twice last night. So I'm like so totally exhausted. I don't even know what to do with myself. Now I'm not going to use the beauty blender on this because my experience has been negative with the beauty blender. It basically takes off most. I'm also going to put on this Rimmel True Match because it's a little bit lighter. So I have a mix of like light and dark here. And I might have to smooth it out with the beauty blender. I did buy those mini beauty blenders, but I haven't broken that stuff out yet. I promised y'all that I'd be doing a video with the new products that I did buy. I am on a no buy, so except for foundation. So if you have any foundation suggestions, I do have a drawer full of foundation. Like, I have more than the average person needs, but I also purchased a few of these because I knew I was going to use them for Foundation Fridays. But this is just to get ready with me. And let's just get that. And my nose is really red, so I'm going to put a little bit down there. And my eyes are slightly less bloodshot than usual today. I do have pretty bloodshot eyes. Now, here is the foundation. It is pretty loose. I did use a brush and a combination brush and beauty blender last time, so I'm just going to use my fingers this time. And I know I had to tap a little bit more onto certain areas here on my face. So let me just try smoothing a lot of this in by hand first. Yeah, see, it's not even trying to cover that spot. Alright, and now we'll get the beauty blender moving. So I do like the beauty blender, but there are some foundations that lend themselves better to being brushed on. This one I think could go either way. If you're looking for very sheer coverage, this is the foundation that you would probably like. And if you're looking for heavier duty coverage, then this probably is not for you. Put a little bit more on my chin, and that didn't do anything. So there are shortcomings to this. The good thing about it is that it does seem to, let's see if I messed anything up, look in the scary ultra magnification mirror. It does tend to dry in place pretty quickly. You can see that it's still on my hand. So it doesn't like, it takes very little time for it to dry. I am going to cover up and highlight. I'm going to use this lightest concealer. A little bit on my nose, a little on that spot. We'll put a little on the chin, a little here, and there. Now this is obviously a step that you don't have to do, but I'm going to do it today. I don't normally, I just usually throw it on, but feeling kind of worn out today, so I think the light will make me feel a little bit better. So that is the finish. It's pretty nice. It's very sheer. This is called Sheer Porefection. It's not their regular Porefection foundation. It's Sheer Porefection. So it is meant to be sheer. The color is really just right for me. And this is color PS2. And just to give you what I used, the Physicians Formula Concealer is in the color light medium, and it just ended up working out that way, but I do know that my CVS now carries it in just flat light, which is the color I really need. And this Rimmel match is, let's see, what number are you? It is in 125 Fair. This I'm using up because it's not cruelty-free. Rimmel sadly sells in China. So anyway, I do feel like the coverage is like really nice and sheer. I don't always want to look heavily made up, and to be honest with you, you know, sometimes when you look heavily made up, it's not a very flattering look. So I'm going to go ahead and continue to chat with you while I do the rest of my makeup. So I'm going to use stuff from my everyday makeup drawer. I'm actually going to go ahead and use my weekly makeup basket because I am going to be doing a new weekly makeup basket soon. So I'm going to use products from here. Now this Oopsie Daisy, it's a sheer powder and it's not available anymore. So I'm going to use this just to like give this a little bit of a seal it up kind of thing. That's borderline itchy, so it doesn't smell or anything, and it still does have a nice finish. I don't know if it's the brush or the powder. I'm going to use a separate brush to do my under eye area, and I'll use the sheer part of it right here and just give that a quick brush. Now that's not always necessary. Sometimes if your concealer dries to a nice finish, you don't have to do that. And by the way, disclaimer here, I'm not a makeup artist. I have not been trained. This is my makeup routine. Okay, so that is done. I still have the dark circles, but I know from experience if I put more crap on, I will end up with lines that are horrible. So I'm still searching for a solution for all that. Okay, so from my everyday makeup drawer, I'm going to take this bronzer today, and this is the Park Avenue Princess, and this is one that I have been trying to use up. This is not a full size, but you could fool me because it's lasting forever. So just pat my brush into this a little bit. Doesn't seem to want to come off. Alright, just to warm things up a little bit. I like to put a little bit of bronzer on, mainly because I'm so pale without it, and you know, I have like, my skin is different as I've gotten older. Mostly like my coloring has changed from being like peaches and cream to a little bit warmer skin tone. I'm going to use this Neutrogena blush. Neutrogena is not cruelty free, so clearly this is one of those items that I am working on using up. Let's put a little bit down my nose, warm up my face a little bit. And back to my everyday makeup drawer. That, by the way, was from my use up on the side here. So I'm going to use this, but I am going to focus on this color up here, which most of the time I don't really grab a focus on anything, but for this time I will. And yeah, that's not really lightening, not giving me much of a highlight, at least that I can see. So I'm going to go right down the middle like I usually do. That's a little better. It's like a barely there highlight. Maybe in HD you can see it a little better than I can. Alright, so also I did get an eye palette from my last of all time Lip Monthly bag. It is something I might eventually go back to, but I'm going to be using these colors instead of going straight to my Pan That Palette. Bah! Sounds so funny. Pan That Palette. Alright, so I've used this once before and I really liked it. It is a super bright brow bone, but it will simmer down after I put everything else on. It's like super bright, like too bright. Alright, and I'll use the lid color, which is this one right here. It's quite powdery, And there's not really a good way to tap it off in this particular, oh, I forgot to put on eyelid primer. Alright, oh well. So we'll see how long this lasts without it, but I'll be using my Urban Decay All Nighter Spray, which makeup seems to last forever and ever and ever. Alright, so we'll try using the crease color. And I'm just going to sweep that along the crease. Okay. Now remember, I'm not a makeup artist. I have not gone for training. I am just a regular human, just like you guys. Alright, so I'll use this outer V color. It's, you know, without primer on, it's oftentimes a little bit hard to get color to really stick, but this seems to be sticking pretty well. It's giving me a kind of an everyday makeup look, not very bright, not like crazy. Okay. It needs a little something extra. I think I will just use this Milani pen. I don't see these in the stores anymore, so I don't know if they're still making these. But I'm just going to stroke a little bit along the entire base of my eyelid here, just to give my makeup just a little bit of pizzazz. Alright, so that worked pretty well, I guess. My eye's still watering from getting eye cream in it earlier. Lately I've been using this Urban Decay 24/7. It's in gunmetal, and it was on sale. I got it for like $7 when I bought it long ago, and it's still good, and it makes a super nice fine line. The brush that comes with it in this is like a perfect eyeliner brush. I do use a pencil on the bottom because I like the control that a pencil gives me on the bottom, and I don't like to put a lot on the bottom. Now this is a liner that I'm trying to use up. It's NYC, and it's in the color Moody Blue. I don't know if they still make this or not. I do put this on the bottom, but the color is such that it's very hard to tell whether it's black or blue once it's on. As you can see, it's not like super dark, it's not super blue, it's just kind of like there. And finally, the most recently trying to use up mascara is this Pacifica one. I'm not really that crazy about this brush. It's, you know, one of those brushes that does the fat and skinny thing, and I pack the color on first with this one. I've done it both ways, like with the stretched out version and then this tight one, but honestly is not my favorite mascara. I want it to be because it's cruelty free, but it's just not my favorite. So, but it's not doing a great job here. Okay, not my favorite mascara. So the next thing I would do is my eyebrows, which I do have to do because I look kind of like I spend a lot of time outside, so I'm getting like all white again and bleachy looking. I'm using this Lancome eyebrow pencil mainly because I do want to use it up. It does need to be sharpened, but I'll sharpen it later. And I just put a little bit of color here, just need to define. I don't need to have Instagram eyebrows, you know, where people chisel out like a real sharp line. Don't need to do that. I don't really think that looks natural. It looks kind of like if you saw someone in the street with that kind of makeup on, wouldn't you think they look awfully heavily made up? So, you know, heavy makeup may be okay for on YouTube, but in real life, I'm thinking it's probably not great. So, I'm also going to use, this is a eyebrow gel that I got from Ulta. And this is like a deluxe size. It came with a purchase and purchase. And I really like this. This is very comparable to my favorite, which is the Cella. I still absolutely love the Cella eyebrow pencil the most. And I did find another one, so I do have one, but the gel is all gone. So this is very good. It's not crunchy. It does look like fairly natural. And so finally, the last step in this get ready with me is going to be putting on some lip products. Now, I've decided I put on the eye makeup from my Lip Monthly bag, and so I'm going to use one of the lip products from my Lip Monthly bag as well. This is Model Co lipstick. I love this lipstick. This is like fabulous stuff. The color is like a nice warm peachy nude color. So I'll put this on. I'm not going to bother with the lip liner, and I should be using one of my lipsticks from my 2017 use up. Now for purposes of YouTube, this is not a dark enough color. It's perfect if I'm out and I just want to swipe on a little bit of color. It's really nice. It feels really good. What I'm going to try to do is I'm going to top it up with a little bit of this sugar lip stick just to give it a little bit more color. And this is cruelty free also, so and that's a beautiful color on. Make sure I didn't get any lipstick on my teeth. So there it is. So this has been like my review, my demo for the Lorac Porefection, which did work extremely well with the Laura Geller primer. Just remember when you use it that it needs to be with a water-based product, which this must be. So yeah, it does not go very well with a silicone type product. So anyway, thank you very much for watching. This has been Mary with a Get Ready With Me featuring my Lorac Sheer Porefection and Laura Geller primer. This is my favorite primer, and this is one that, now this, when it runs out, I probably would never purchase it again. I'm not sure. I think several months of using it might give me a better idea of just whether I like it or not. The Laura Geller Spackle I will buy from now till the end of time because it has worked out really well for me. So anyway, thank you for watching. This has been Mary with Reviewer's Diary with my Get Ready With Me featuring Laura Geller and Lorac Sheer Porefection. Thanks and have a beautiful evening. Good night.